I think I got. I don't think this is an LS2. And here's why. So hey guys, I'm Brent. This is Tack Out Garage. So I finally got a chance to dig into the Corvette. I had a business trip, so I just didn't get a chance to really dig into it till just now. Um, but everything on this thing was screaming LS1 to me. It got sold to me as an LS2. I bought it very quickly. It was such a good deal that I was like, whatever, I'm gonna grab it. It runs, it drives. It is what it is. So it's got goodies on it. It's got the headers. It's got the nitrous kit. It's got an intake, whatever. Um, but I started looking at it, and hold on, let me grab my light. All right, let there be light. So, number one indicator to me was the valve covers. These are perimeter bolt valve covers. They don't have the coil pack holders. Each coil pack is independently bolted to the heads. I'm like, all right, well, maybe they put a LS1 top end on it. I don't know. Next indicator. These are definitely early LS1 heads. These are 806 casting marks. Same on the passenger side. Great. So I'm like, all right, well, if this was actually an LS2, there should be a 6-liter stamping. There should be some kind of stamping. With this in the car, it's tight. You can't really get to many stampings. I'm like, all right, well, a lot of what I've seen online, because I don't know the LSs all that well, said pull your power steering pump, pull your alternator, and look for a casting mark. Down in here. Well, I ain't got no casting marks. All I got's a 98, and this is a 98, and there's no displacement, there's no nothing there. I'm like, okay, great. Another giveaway for an LS2 is a lot of times you will get a casting mark etched in potentially here or on the other side. This is right next to the head. It's right next to the oil fill. There's nothing there. It's bare. So that is that one. I guess apparently there's a casting mark that's supposed to be back here, but well, I'm not getting to that. So we've got an LS1 intake for sure, because I looked and it's got the V shape up under here. Can't really show it, but it's got the V shape instead of the flat, which is another indicator of LS1. This engine is absolutely filthy, by the way. So we can go underneath and I'll show you. This thing is leaking like a sieve. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna tackle sealing this thing up or what I'm gonna do. Got to see how deep we're gonna get. But next giveaway is the Batwing, and not only is it a Batwing, but it's a first-gen Batwing because it's all one piece. And from what I've read, that means it's a first-generation oil pan, which once again leads me to believe this is a 98 LS1. I think this is the original engine to the car. I don't know if the guy I bought it from didn't know that or what, but somebody got duped and I'm ending up with it at the end of the day. So yeah, LS guys, chime in if you have any ideas, but from all intents and purposes, aside from yanking this engine out because I can't really get to the back of the block, I do, yeah, you can see there, 806 heads again. I do have a scope cam. I was thinking about trying to go up through the access hole in the bell housing and see if I can get it up above the flywheel and see if I can see the displacement stamping. But I don't know. So, yeah. Good stuff. So I finally got underneath this thing. It is a mess. It is a big mess as far as just leaking. So I noticed when I finally got it up in the air that I had some oil leakage, and then I look up and it's just like, wow. So you can see it's just gunked and it's actively wet. and actively dripping. More than likely, it's probably this oil pan seal. I'm really hoping it's not the rear main, but it very well could be that. But you can just see, like, she's wet. She's wet. Now, as for the rest of the car, she's pretty spotless, actually. Not a terrible exhaust system. Nice headers. Everything looks to fit really well. So I'm not mad about that per se. I will say, yeah, we got more active dripping up here as well. Oh, well, kinda. That might be from the power steering pump, but nonetheless, it is just absolutely soaked and disgusting up here as well. Lots and lots of caked on stuff. Some ghetto fixes. It's been worked on throughout its life. You know, it's a 98. What do you expect? So, a little bit of disappointment. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of bummed, but it is what it is. At this point in the ball game, I got to deal with it. I got to do little things like that is melted from that harness that is tucked up in here. Looks like maybe rear O2 harnesses. They put them right on the headers, which was not the best choice. So lots of little things I need to address. So yeah, lots of little things I need to address. At the end of the day, it's still something I paid $5,000 for. It is a running, driving Corvette. It does have an overheating issue as well. I got a temperature sensor. We're going to see if we can go ahead and fix that. I hooked my scan tool up and I was able to manually activate both the fans, and they ran perfectly. However, if I run the car up to temp, the fans don't turn on. And on top of that, I noticed that the digital readout for the thermostat was kind of bouncing back and forth. So I'd run it up to these cars want a factory run at like 220 is normal for this. And if it's not tuned out, which from everything I can see it's not, to be on a lower thermostat, 220 is normal operating range. So I get it up to 220, but as I'm watching the digital gauge, it'll go 220 and then it'll drop down to like 212 and then 215 and then back up to 220. And it just kept doing that. And it actually did that through the entire temperature range as the car was running and warming up to temp. So that tells me maybe it's a temperature sensor. That's kind of where I'm going with it. So that's going to be one of the first things I swap out, especially since I already yanked the alternator and yanked the power steering pump. I've got super clear access to that temperature sensor. So I'm going to go ahead and swap that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my vacuum kit on the coolant tank and go ahead and pull a vacuum on it. Make sure it holds vacuum. See if there's any air in the system. Go ahead and try to suck all that out. Maybe I'll get lucky and that will do it for me. So I think the fans are not being commanded on because the computer's seeing this wild temperature reading that's going back and forth and dipping. And so it's not like saying, oh, we're at 220 or we're at 225, we need to kick the fans on. So that's my hypothesis. Since I know I have good fans, I know I have good relays, I've eliminated kind of the electrical side of it for the most part. I think this is a commanding issue. And I'm really, really hoping that a $15 sensor is all that's going to need to fix it. I'm really also hoping like the coolant passages aren't like gunked up or anything like that. That'll be another big thing. So I'm really hoping that's going to be the case. So it's really interesting. Here's a little tidbit. So this was put on here and I'm trying to kind of interpret it. So this says 5W30. This says 6.4 quarts. This says 824, 828. So August 24th, 28th. They didn't put a year. That didn't really help. But it obviously tells me that somebody at least at some point changed out the coolant on this as a maybe preventative maintenance deal. I'm not sure. They did use Dexcool, so there's that. So I'm really hoping within the last couple of years this has been kind of flushed and taken care of. That is an indicator to me of that. So fingers crossed on that, that hopefully I can just pull some vacuum on this, maybe suck out a little bit of air, get that sensor swapped out, and maybe that'll be it. Maybe that'll be Bob's your uncle at that point in the ball game. Other thing I might have to chase, and that means I'd have to empty the coolant system, would be maybe the thermostat. Maybe it's not opening for whatever reason. Maybe it's stuck. So that'll be another thing I'll have to look at. So that's where I'm at with the Corvette. I'm bummed. definitely think this is LS1. Like I said, LS guys, chime in if you happen to think otherwise, or if you know somewhere else I can look that doesn't require yanking the motor out. But from everywhere I can find a stamp, that's what I'm getting at, which is just that front part and then just all the other elements combined. This just screams 98 LS1. So if that's the case, it is what it is. I'm gonna deal with it. I'm a little bit bummed, and obviously last video I was so hyped because I'm like, hey, it's an LS2 C5, like that's freaking awesome. Now it's a stock C5, but at least it has some goodies on it. I might even pull the valve covers and look to see at the valve train and see like what maybe is inside. I have a very sneaking suspicion this is just a simple bolt-on. I'm also going to look at the injectors, see if those have been changed at all to handle the nitrous system. Um, but aside from that, I'm going to chase the cooling system problem, get her running good, and then decide what I'm going to do about the oil leaks on it because, good lord, the bottom is soaked. I could drop the front subframe and then just go ahead and drop the oil pan and reseal it. That's going to be a lot. But hey, it'd be good content for you guys. So with that, I'm gonna keep digging into this. I'm gonna go ahead and change the sensor out, and then maybe we'll do another video after the fact if I do some testing and this thing actually works. I'll send you a victory video. Otherwise, that's it for me. I'm Brent. This is Tack Out Garage. Ultimately disappointed this is not an LS2 Corvette. Such is life. Always be wary when you're buying used vehicles. You never know what you're getting. So, nonetheless, it runs, it drives. I should still be able to have some fun with it, and we'll dig into it. So, with that, be good, be kind. Until next time.